to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Mechakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops. At Great Millstone, I'm your brother Rabbi Nab, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. This is from disclose.tv on X. It says, now Reza Pahlavi, he said, I went to Israel to show that we are of Cyrus the Great, who 25 centuries ago helped free the Jewish people and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. Let's see what he's saying.
I went to Israel 2 years ago to show that we are the descendants of Cyrus the Great, who 25 centuries ago helped Jewish slaves be freed from the Babylonian government, helped them rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, a country that in the Second World War period gave refuge to Jews escaping the tyranny of Hitler, our neighbors. I went to Israel.
I gotta find this video. Well, actually, I really don't. I mean, so you went there, so what? What the hell does that mean? He said we the descendants of Cyrus the Great. So what's that mean? As a matter of fact, God uses Cyrus. Let's start here, Isaiah 45:1. Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-levied gates, and the gates shall not be shut. Let me see what this is talking about. Yeah, you know, the Persians did help us rebuild the temple, but that's talking about us. I ain't talking about the fake Jews. Is God calling the pagan Persian king Cyrus the Great his anointed? Because God chose him to fulfill a specific purpose, to conquer nations, and crucially to enable the Israelites to return from Babylonian exile and rebuild Jerusalem, demonstrating God's sovereignty over all nations, even using a non-believer to save his people. He used the heathen, that's right. He's saying he's a descendant of Cyrus the Great. Isaiah 45:2, I will go before thee and make the straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron. Let's look this up real quick. The gates of brass and the bars of iron. Isaiah 45:2 is a powerful promise from God, typically addressed to King Cyrus of Persia, that he will actively clear obstacles, remove barriers, and grant victory by going before him, leveling mountains, smashing bronze gates, and cutting iron bars to reveal his power and bring Israel's release from Babylonian captivity. Showing his sovereignty over all human rulers and defenses, it symbolized God's ability to overcome any restriction and provide unhindered progress for his chosen people and instruments. I'm trying to think. Who did he took down the Babylonians, right? But he got taken down by the Greeks. So, you know, it is what it is. Isaiah 40. But you know, prophecy-wise, he gonna have a greater. You know, he gonna get the victory, and well, I don't know if he's gonna get the victory, but he definitely gonna do some damage to Babylon. He ain't getting over. None of these heathen are getting any victory over each other. They're gonna be used for one thing and then tossed away like a hand-me-down. Isaiah 45:3, and I'll give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which called thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. So he wrote this way before Cyrus, you know, was even thought of. Okay, Isaiah is before the Persians. You know, so by the time this had to be fulfilled, you know, Israel. This also goes to show you that the prophets, man, they know the truth, man. Okay, and that's why they bringing these scriptures out, just like you see brothers today bringing out scriptures, you know, matching it up with the times that we're living in. Isaiah 45:4, for Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. So he's saying, yeah, you didn't know me. Israel's mine elect, but he said, I'm calling you my elect too. Okay, because he was a chosen vessel that the Lord was using to bring back the second temple. Okay, and bringing back the jewels and all of that. So it tells you in the scriptures, as a matter of fact, that when where's that scripture? When a man's, let me grab it. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even your enemies be at peace with you. KJV. Proverbs 16:7. Yeah, when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Okay. So that's sort of like what he did with the Persians. Even though we were in captivity to them, he allowed for him to rebuild the second temple during that time. But then it stopped, and then we, under, I think, Xerxes, I forgot what king, but the heathen stopped us from building it. They ended up getting in one of the king's heirs, and then we were able to build it under. It took some time to build it. As a matter of fact, let me look into that real quick, get some history. Who were the Persian kings that allowed Israel to build the second temple? Cyrus the Great initiated the return of the Jews and the rebuilding of the second temple with his decree after the conquering of Babylon, but work stalled. The temple's completion around 516 BC occurred under Darius I, who issued a decree to resume construction after opposition, while later Artaxerxes supported the rebuilding of the city walls under Nehemiah. So, there was a lot of work to be done on that. But at least he instituted it. It was the beginning. But we had to fight. It wasn't like he did it. Isaiah 45:5, I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, that though thou hast not known me. Look at this word, girded. Girded, equipped, clothed, hold close class, gird oneself for war. Yeah, he set up this heathen to be in that position of power. And you know what? He did exactly what the Lord told him he was going to do, which proves that the Lord is true. He can use these heathen don't have. Let's get this in Proverbs 20 and 24. As a matter of fact, that's what comes to mind. Proverbs 20 in verse number 24, it says, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So, you don't understand your own way, man. Here it is, the Lord wrote your name in the Bible years before you even born. And then he got his prophets telling you, this is you. You're supposed to help us do this. And then you feel like you would do that, So he established it with him just to fulfill prophecy, even though, had to go through Artaxerxes. There was a little bit of back and forth with trying to get it done, but it still came to pass. Proverbs 21:1, next chapter. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So he put it in his mind to fulfill his will, just like he's going to put it in the mind of these different kings to fulfill his will with burning this place with fire. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. That's pretty much it. Isaiah 45:6, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord and there is none else. So he's saying that he's by himself. There's only one. There's many gods, but the Most High God, that's something that no other God. There's no other God that's on that same level as him. Isaiah 45:7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Found this also. It says, New York Post, Trump asked what could trigger insurrection act in Minnesota. Let's see what he said.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you explain how your great healthcare plan will impact Americans' health insurance premiums?
It's going to be tremendous. It is a tremendous plan. It's called the Great Healthcare Plan, and we're going to get tremendous reductions, as you know, through if you look at medicines and prescription drugs, they're going to come down by numbers that have never been seen before. And we're doing that by most favored nations and other nations. Whoever pays the lowest in the world, that's what we're going to pay. Right now we're paid sometimes 10 times higher than other nations. So we have favored nations. That's been approved. Other nations have, for the most part, agreed to it. And they had no choice, otherwise we were going to put tariffs on them.
President Trump,
the healthcare plan that we're coming, the money's going to be paid directly to the people. So it goes directly, not to the companies, not to the insurance companies. It's going to go directly to the people, and the people are going to buy their own health care. They'll get much better health care at a much reduced price.
Oh, so you about to fuck your whole healthcare system up. That's what he just said. So it's going to be so high, you're not going to be able to afford it, because he said it's going to be so low, so he's lying.
A lot of NATO if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland. If it doesn't legalize.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security, especially when it comes to what we're doing in terms of the Golden Dome and all of the other things. We have a lot of investments in military. We have got.
In terms of the Golden Dome's not going to help you, man. It's not going to help you. We describe this in the book of Joel. That's why he wants it, man. For middle, he probably wants to give him some extra security that he's not going to have. Joel 2:7, they shall run like mighty men, talking about the thermonuclear missiles. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. So these different missiles, they're not going to break their ranks, meaning they're going to hit where the Lord designated these missiles to hit. Hold on, let me just double check real quick, make sure I ain't lying. Because I ain't been in this in a while. Joel 2:7, I'm going to see my notes real quick. No notes on it. Nope, hold on. Nope, no notes. Joel 2:7. Joel 2:8. Not break their ranks. Let's look this up. Not break their ranks. Don't break ranks means don't disobey your group, fail to conform to its unified stance, or publicly show disagreement with your own organization or party. So when these missiles don't break their ranks, meaning, instead of failing to obey, they're going to obey. They're going to hit where the Lord wants them to hit. Okay. Joel 2:8, neither shall one thrust another, meaning one hit another. That's not going to happen either. They shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, which is his golden dome that he's talking about, they shall not be wounded, meaning they're not going to be destroyed. So the dome, all of this it's vanity. Okay, so it's important that we know these scriptures, because ain't nothing gonna save this place, man. You're gonna be hoping, yeah, that's security. That's just more talk to keep you proud. He wants you in that state of pride when that destruction comes. That's what that's what he's talking like. Pride cometh before destruction. Proverbs 16 and 18. Damn, I gotta read Proverbs again. It's like I forgot all the precepts in there. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Let's look at this word haughty. I know it means proud, but I want to search it up anyways. Arrogantly superior and disdainful. Yeah, you so proud that it's disdainful.
The strongest military in the world, and it's only getting stronger. And you saw that with Venezuela. You saw that with the attack on Iran, with the knocking out their nuclear capability potentially. So,
you know, so that's some boasting. You saw that in Venezuela. You saw what I did in Iran. You saw this. You saw that. You see my power, right? Isaiah 36. Okay. Isaiah 36 and I'll start at 4. And Rabshakeh said unto them, say ye now to Hezekiah, thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this wherein thou trustest? I say, sayest thou, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom dost thou trust that thou rebellest against me? So he's basically talking to Judah, okay, because he's about to, in his head, he thinks he's about to invade. Sennacherib sends Rabshakeh. Let me look up Rabshakeh real quick. I don't think that's his name. I think that's just a title. Rabshakeh, chief cupbearer, chief of the officers, question mark. A Babylonian official, so it sounds like it's like a rank or something. You know, he's speaking on behalf of Sennacherib. Okay, Isaiah 36 and verse 6, Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, wherein if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. So Judah was trusting in their allies, with their alliance with Egypt. Okay, he was trying to figure out what gives you this trust to come up against me. Isaiah 36 and 7, but if thou say to me, we trust in the Lord our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah have taken away, and said to Judah and to Jerusalem, ye shall worship before the altar? Let's see what he's talking about here. The Assyrian commander Rabshakeh mocks King Hezekiah's religious reform, sarcastically questioning how Judah can trust a God whose high places and altars, local shrines for false gods, Hezekiah removed, framing obedience as an affront to God when Hezekiah was actually obeying God's command to centralize worship in Jerusalem, highlighting a battle between true faith in God and reliance on false security. So he was getting rid of them idols. So he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He talking about him removing, that's what you're supposed to do. So he was listening to the Lord. Supposed to remove all these false gods and shit. That's why the reason why this nigga was knocking on the door in the first place. Because of their sin. Isaiah 36 and 8. Now therefore give pledges, I pray thee, to my master, the king of Assyria, and I will give thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. So he's boasting about his military might. How then wilt thou turn away from the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen, trusting in their alliance and their military strength? You know, trusting in Egypt. He's saying, you know, your allies ain't going to be able to deliver you from what I'm about to do. But I'm trying to look for where it's Isaiah 36 and 19. It says, where are the gods of Hamath or Alphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim and have they delivered Samaria out of my hand. So he's boasting about past victories, just like the duck is doing. Okay. And if you know the story of Sennacherib, he gets put to death. Isaiah 36:19, spoken by the Assyrian commander, is a rhetorical taunt, questioning the power of other gods, Hamath, Arphad, Sepharim, to save their people, contrasting them with the God of Israel, Yahweh, and challenging Judah's faith by highlighting Samaria's fall to Assyria, ultimately exposing the impotence of idols and urging reliance solely on Yahweh for true deliverance. So, Duck's not really talking about the idols, but he's using that same type of rhetoric where he's pointing to past victories and how, for example, Maduro wasn't able to deliver himself, just like the Iranians weren't able to deliver themselves when he destroyed their military capability.
Yeah, we're talking about
Mr. President, you commit to not militarily intimidating.
Mr. President, you urged protesters in Iran earlier this week to keep fighting in the streets and said that help was on the way. Is help still on the way, or has your bar
we're
for
going to see.
intervention
As you
changed?
know, Iran can't
He said he was going to send help to Iran.
cancel the hanging of over 800 people. So Iran canceled the hanging of over 800 people. They were going to hang over 800 people yesterday, and I greatly respect the fact that they canceled them.
Mr. President, Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China? Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, it's okay. That's what he should be doing. And it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
President Trump is doing an election in Venezuela.
Did Arab and Israeli officials convince you to not strike Iran?
Nobody convinced me. I convinced myself. You had yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone. They canceled the hangings. That had a big impact.
Yesterday you accepted Maria Machado's Nobel Prize medal. What do you intend to do with it, and why would you want someone else's Nobel Prize?
Well, she offered it to me. I thought it was very nice. She said, you've ended 8 wars, and nobody deserves this prize more than in history than you do. And I thought it was a very nice gesture. And by the way, I think she's a very fine woman, and we'll be talking again.
Maria Machado said that election was stolen. President Trump.
Say it?
The trigger for the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. What are you waiting for?
Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, the Insurrection Act also, if you look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, he used it, I think, 28 times. It's been used a lot. And if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Okay, now he's switching up his talk. Oh, if I needed it, I'd use it. Yesterday, I was gonna do it. Today, if I, it was used 28 times. If I need to, I would use it. All this rhetoric. Oh no, this is what the Shah is saying again.
Today, I ask the world to protect the Iranian people by degrading the regime's repressive capacity, including targeting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard leadership and its command and control infrastructure. Second, deliver and sustain maximum economic pressure on the regime.
Damn, everyone just be asking Esau to do all types of fucked up shit to their country, man. Oh, man, you heathen are fucking out of your damn mind. Out of your damn mind, man. We all suffer from that, though. You can't handle nothing internally. You always got to ask the heathen to come help you out. As a matter of fact, Paul says something about that in 1 Corinthians, the 8th chapter. Take care with your liberty. No. Maybe it's 2 Corinthians 8. I don't know why I'm thinking 8. 2 Corinthians 8, maybe. think of where it's at right now.
block their assets worldwide,
Damn.
target and dismantle their fleet of ghost tankers. Third, break through the regime's information blockade by enabling unrestricted internet access. Deploy Starlink and other secure communications tools widely across Iran, and conduct cyber operations to disable the regime's ability to shut down the internet. Fourth, hold the regime accountable by expelling its diplomats from your capitals and pursue legal enforcement actions against those responsible for crimes against humanity. Fifth, demand the immediate release of all political prisoners. Sixth, prepare for a democratic transition in Iran by committing to recognize a legitimate transitional government when the moment comes.
Yep, you guess he wants to be taking place, man. You got Machado coming in here, giving the Nobel Peace Prize for the duck to pretty much set her up. Shah, he's being exiled. Exiled son of Shah, or he was already exiled, reacts to Trump reportedly expressing doubt about his support among Iranians. Well, they said that he just said they didn't hang 800 people. He ain't cool with that. He's telling people to go into the streets and keep fighting. Crown Prince asked about U.S. support for Iranian protesters. You really want him to just start World War III so your ass can get in the power over there? You're out of your damn mind. It says, I need people to know. ICE protester who was hit by a projectile speaks out. Dude gets shot in his eye, loses his eye. This is some wild shit, man. These are supposed to be non-lethal weapons. He could have died from a non-lethal weapon. And when you learn about the facts of the matter, you realize he wasn't even yeah, I'll just let him speak.
My surgeon that worked on it, he said, yeah, he's almost certain I'll never see out of it again. I'm still worried about those neurotoxins because they won't tell us what the munition was or what metal was in it.
Metal. Nigga said what metal was in it.
Yeah, I need people to know. I can't just sit down and not have my story told. I think it's like my duty as someone who went through this to showcase how violent DHS can get with people.
I bet you won't bring your ass there a second time.
We have the right to do that.
Get off her. I know you didn't say get off her. Hold on.
We have the right to do that. We have the right to do that. It's our First Amendment right to be able to speak out at this. And if we are met with violence for peacefully speaking our mind, then that means we do not have that First Amendment right.
Well, I saw another thing online. So basically, I don't know what the hell that is, man. I'm sorry. He's saying she, I don't know. I'm fucking confused now. He got shot in the eye. Or she got shot in the eye. I don't know which one. And he was saying how a piece of plastic the size of something was pulled. So plastic shards and metal shards were found inside of his eye, and that's what really, it hit him and it exploded, and all this shit is in his face. Okay? That's not normal shit, man. That's a concoction of mad different things that they're shooting people with. So if you're an idiot, right, and you stumble across this video and you believe in the Lord, then you should know what's in the Bible, okay? Because it's people like you who are going to be out there like him that's going to get the same result. because the Lord's not dealing with people who are going to these things. This is for Esau to pay for the crimes he committed against the nation of Israel. Okay, it's time for him to pay for his sins. Okay. Europe flexes military muscle, sends 50 troops to Greenland. Vantage with Palki Sharma. Oh, I gotta watch her in a second. But 2 Corinthians, I gotta find where was Paul? Paul reveals his heart. I don't know where he was saying, but pretty much that believers should let me see, maybe this is 1 Corinthians 6. I forgot what he said in that chapter, but you see a lot of heathen do this, man. You know, lawsuits discouraged. Yeah, I think this is it. 1 Corinthians 6:1. Dare any of you having a matter against another go to law before the unjust and not before the saints? You know, this is really between Israel, man. You know, we like to tend to take it outside of the ministry to handle certain matters, man. Like, there's a lot of matters that can be handled internally, but you know, I don't think we can do this as a people right now in this state. So I know, you know, I mean, some brothers can. You know, it's not all brothers. You know, I've worked with brothers that I've worked on high level projects with, and everything was smooth. But there was something about them that they had like it was I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but there's just certain brothers who just demand that sort of respect when it comes to dealing with certain matters. You know, it's just some people have it, some people don't. But when you deal with people that are organized and handle things on high levels, it's just something they do. They just know how to do it, and you know it when you're around them because things just go smooth. You know, they're doing the right things, they're saying the right things, they're expecting the right things. You know, but I don't know, for some reason Israel, they just always butting heads about everything, man. There's always some envy or some jealousy, something. It's always something. They can't put all the emotions aside and stick to what's in front of them. And ultimately, that's pretty much what it is. It's just emotions. You know, people can't put how they feel to the side and just in order to get something done. 1 Corinthians 6:2. Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? And, you know, and I'm looking at this guy pretty much saying, I got 6 things, you know, go in there, destroy this, kill this, do that. You asking a foreign nation, that shit don't make any sense, man. And, you know, and then when you get set up, how the fuck is somebody supposed to trust you? You know, you say things like this, and then if you do get into power, people are supposed to trust you? Get the hell out of here, man. You're a sellout. That's what I would think. You know, that's what anybody would think if somebody was meddling in your government things. You know, they support you. If they support violence and death, and nah, man. And it's just like us, man. You're going to be judging the world, Lord's will. You know, you a part of that number, but you're going to be put in a position to make, you know, these decisions. You got to constantly you got to know how to deal with certain things, man. You know, ultimately the Lord got to change you to do all these things, but, you know, looking at it on a worldly matter, man, some people don't, even the heathen, man, you just see that lack of moral that you need. That component is very needed if you're going to be ruling over a people. You know, if you can't judge the matters within, you know, internally amongst your own people, and you're asking a foreign nation to come help you, you probably shouldn't be in power. Okay. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 3. Know ye not that, because the people going to be looking at you like, why should we listen to you? You might as well just listen to the person you just calling for help. 1 Corinthians 6 and 3. Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? So we got to, it's good to bring out these precepts, because when you put yourself in a position of thinking, like, what would you do in that predicament, and you try to apply the scriptures, man, these people, they're not doing this. They're not, where are you getting your baseline from? It damn sure ain't from here. It sounds like you're given a script. 1 Corinthians 6 and 4. If then ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church. Let me see what this means real quick. It's pretty much going into you handling, instead of going to the heathen, because they were in captivity at that time, you handle this stuff in the church. A small debate about something, fix it amongst brethren. 1 Corinthians 6 and 4 means Israelites should resolve their minor worldly disputes internally within the church using wise, respected members rather than taking fellow believers to secular courts, especially pagan magistrates, which shames the church's witness. That's a shameful thing, man. You're supposed to be believers, then you taking your brother to court for, whatever it is. Something small. Y'all should, be able to handle that out. Now, I'm just contextually speaking, that's a smaller thing, but even a greater thing, man. He's saying that's like a shameful thing. It highlights the call for unity, humility, and spiritual discernment over worldly rights and litigation. Paul is urging them to use spiritual wisdom God has given them, even appointing seemingly least esteemed believers as arbitrators instead of seeking judgment from unbelievers, as they will eventually judge the world and angels. That's right. Arbitrators. Let me look this word up. The least esteemed. Arbitrators are neutral, impartial third parties who resolve legal disputes outside of court by hearing evidence from opposing sides and rendering a final binding decision in award. They are often experts like lawyers or retired judges, chosen for their knowledge, offering a faster, less costly alternative to traditional litigation, though their decisions are typically final and enforceable in court. So, use what you have, even the least esteemed amongst your church, to come up with a proper decision. 1 Corinthians 6 and 5, I speak to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren? That's right. And that dude's not wise, man. That's y'all. If an Israelite was doing that, man, seeking another nation to come internally into the matters to fix something that is internal. You brave enough to want to speak on their behalf. You telling people to go protest, and you in a whole different country, man. That's just weak as hell. Just like fucking Zelensky. Nigga ain't been in Ukraine. That's how you know Ukraine's done, man. When your leader's always flying here, let's see where Zelensky's at. Where was Vladimir Zelensky today? No, where? Where was Vladimir Zelensky today? Today, January 17th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was likely in Kiev, Ukraine. Okay, he went back home, fulfilling his duties as head of state, though recent news, late 2025, shows him engaging in critical diplomacy, like meetings with U.S. leaders such as Duck and VP Vance to secure support against Russia in dealing with internal anti-corruption. It says right here, Ukraine's president, that's 2 weeks ago. Where is Prime Minister? No. President currently, where is President? Well, there's talks that he's always. I just saw him hugging Macron like yesterday. Maybe he went back to Ukraine. I don't know. But anyways, let's go. Can 50 EU troops prevent U.S. from taking Greenland? Yeah, 50 is not a lot of people, man.
Our next story takes us to Greenland. Europe has finally decided to flex its muscles there. It has deployed troops to the island. It sounds serious and ominous, right? Like Europe is arming the island of Greenland.
Right.
But wait till you hear the number. Europe has sent less than 50 soldiers. Yes, 50. Less than 50 soldiers to secure Greenland. This is an island of 2.1 million square kilometers. If you do the math, that's one soldier for every 42,000 square kilometers. Now, to put that in context, that's one soldier for an area that is the size of Switzerland. That is Europe's Arctic deterrence. Look at the numbers, the breakup. France has sent 15 soldiers, Germany has sent 13, Finland sent 2 liaison officers, Norway, Sweden...
Damn, Finland, you only sent 2? Oh, man. This shit is funny. Nobody wants war with the beast, man. He coming to take that shit. That's why he be talking all this shit. It sound all good, but if you just like he did sent all these European nations and sent all these troops over there to Greenland to defend it. Finland sent 2. Oh man, that's funny. Let me slack you. I just thought that was funny.
Look at the numbers, the breakup. France has sent 15 soldiers, Germany has sent 13, Finland sent 2 liaison officers, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands and the UK are contributing small teams. Altogether, you're talking a few dozen personnel. They're part of a Danish-led exercise. It is called Operation Arctic Endurance. European officials insist this is a reconnaissance mission. But the context is very clear. Europe wants to be seen in Greenland.
From today and in the coming period, there will be an increased military presence in and around Greenland of aircraft, ships, and soldiers, including from other NATO allies. Security in the Arctic is of crucial importance for both the Kingdom of Denmark and NATO as a whole.
But why now? The reason is obviously Donald Trump. He wants to take over the island. It's something that he's been talking about for 12 months now. Trump says he needs Greenland for national security, and his argument is quite simple. If the US does not control Greenland, Russia or China will.
The problem is not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such.
He running that Venezuela shit into the ground, just like he was running that. Well, it's all, Ukraine's all Biden's fault. He's still saying that shit. This is Biden's war. Yeah, but you've been sending a lot of money, man. It sounds like these are your wars.
Is that not going to happen? We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off.
But here's the problem. Greenland is an autonomous territory. At the same time, it is part of Denmark. Denmark is a US ally. They're both part of the NATO, the US and Denmark. The US already has a military base on the island of Greenland. It also has full military access under long-standing treaties. But he wants ownership. So what then is Europe trying to do? Europe says this deployment sends a strong political signal, a signal to Washington, and it shows how serious this is. The NATO in Greenland, the answer is no, not even close. The US military could capture Greenland within hours. It has airlift capacity that Europe does not. It already operates the missile warning radar from the Pitufik space base. Europe too admits that this mission is not about resistance, it's about complication. They want to complicate matters. Say American troops land in Greenland tomorrow. They will be dealing with French, German, Nordic and British personnel. That turns this into a complicated mission.
I don't think troops in Europe impact the president's decision-making process, nor does it impact his goal of the acquisition.
Carolyn Levette, I don't know what's up with you, man. I guess that's that Mar-a-Lago face that people be talking about.
Position of Greenland.
I thought she looks like she drinks out of sippy cups. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know.
And at all.
So 50 troops won't help?
Slovakia. Carolyn Levette.
Your first question on Greenland, I don't think troops in Europe impact the president's decision-making process, nor does it impact his goal of the acquisition of Greenland at all.
So 50 troops won't help, but what are Europe's options right now? Currently, it has 3 real options.
It's kind of funny, you sending 50 troops out there, all these, you went on all these platforms, you had the foreign minister of Denmark, and the I think she was from Greenland. I can't remember exactly. They were talking on. She was speaking in her own language, but they were basically saying that Greenland's not for sale. We're gonna prioritize security in that area, and then you only send 50 troops. Like, what the hell? I mean, that can just be the beginning, and then, it's only one day that passed, so who knows what the hell's going on over there.
One is deflate. Option 1. So 50 troops won't help, but what are Europe's options right now? Currently, it has 3 real options. Option 1 is deflate. Europe needs to flatter Trump. It needs to agree that Trump has a point, and then offer more NATO cooperation. The Europeans can only hope that Trump will be swayed by this, but this seems to be their current strategy. Option 2 is proper deterrence. Not 15 or 50 soldiers, but Europe needs a sizable presence.
Right.
They need to be present in Greenland either permanently or on rotational basis. Also, they need to make the consequences clear. What happens if the US violates Greenland sovereignty? What will Europe do?
Right.
The problem is that to do all of this, the Europeans need political courage and unity. And at this point, they have neither. Option 3 is waiting it out. Europe can just hope that Trump gets distracted. Midterms, China, Iran, something else. Europe can hope that Trump finds a new obsession and moves on. And honestly, it's their most realistic option at this point. So Europe's troop deployment to Greenland is not about defense. It's about sending a message. But messages only work if the sender has leverage. So Europe, as we see it, is waving a flag and hoping that it counts as a shield. We're not sure how long that will work.
Man, Shama's all right. I like her. She knows how to... She hits some good points. We're going to find out. The Lord's about to stir some shit up over there. I'll tell you that, though. This is what I wanted to get. It says Trump threatens tariffs on countries that don't back U.S. taking Greenland.
I started with President Macron of France, and a very nice person. I like him a lot. I hope he's listening, because he doesn't believe that, but I do. He's a nice man. And I said, Emmanuel, yes, Donald, thank you so much for calling. Oh. I said, you're not going to like this call. You're going to have to get your drug prices up. No, I will not do that. I said, Emmanuel, we're paying 13 times more than, 13 times, not 13%, 13 times more than you are for this pill. I rattled off some numbers that are crazy. You know the numbers I'm talking about, Oz. Oz would give me some numbers. I'd say, this is crazy. We're paying 10 times, 12 times, 13 times. No, I will not do that. I said, look, you've got to do it. 100% you're going to do it. No, Donald, I told you I will not do that. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. If you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on all goods, wine, champagnes, and everything else coming into the United States of America. He said, Donald, I would love to do this for you. It would be a great honor to do it. And that's where it began. And I went through country after country. Susie was responsible for getting every one of those leaders on the thing. Susie, by the way, stand up, Susie. She is doing such a good job. She's the first female chief of staff, and she might be the best chief of staff too, but she's doing a great job. Thank you, Susie. So Susie got him on, and I just went one after another. I called Germany. No, we will not do that. I said, no, we're going to put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug, like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more, 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen.
Smart founders.
Them tariffs, man, they gonna hurt. They are going to hurt. You know, but you know, at the same time, I gotta grab it again. Revelation 17. You know, this is what's really coming to pass, man. Now we don't know, but we're gonna keep an eye on that. How many troops going to Greenland and all of that? That's something that you might want to keep your eye on, man. Because these things are getting closer and closer. Right now, it's just rumors of wars. You know, like it tells you in Matthew 24. But all this shit's going to kick off. But we know that the MOTB needs to be established first. Then everything's going to kick up. But you see what's going on with the insurrection. He's sending people into Minnesota. People getting shot in the eye. We got shards in their eyeballs, man, losing their vision. You know, people getting shot in their legs, shot in their face. You know, so these people are doing a lot of shit. Doing a lot of shit, man. So these are just signs of the times. You know, you got protests. You know, he went into Venezuela, you saw more protests. If he goes into Greenland, you're going to see more protests. If he says we're going to war with whoever, you're going to see more protests. And that's what everything's leading to. Even though Machado just gave them the Nobel Peace Prize, they might not want that bitch over there. Okay? They might not want this new Shah over there in Iran. You don't know what these people think. Everyone's already upset with their governments, and the alternative that they're looking for is probably somebody that they don't want. Revelation 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So the 10 horns and the beast is NATO and the EU. They're going to hate the whore, which is America, and they're going to burn her with fire eventually. Maybe not next week, maybe, you know, maybe not tomorrow, you know, but eventually it's going to lead up to the point. All those that bend the bow. Let's grab that. Let me finish this. Revelation 17 and 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. That's why they're not fully giving their soldiers over there, because they're still giving over to the beast. They're still working with him on other areas, and they don't want to blow it up, just going all in on Greenland right now. You know, expose them on other areas. And like Sharma said, you know, they're not fully united. You know, they got their own little things within each other. Without all of that's he gonna close up the breaches, so to speak, and they're gonna agree, and they're gonna shoot nukes on Babylon the Great. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And that's talking about America. That reigneth over the kings of the earth. That's why the duck can make phone calls, oh, I'll put money on this, I'll increase this and do that, you know, over there. You better not hang those 800 people in your country over there. When you talk like that, that's just your tongue falling upon yourself. That's the Lord showing you who the wicked is. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So if you don't know who it is, then, you know, you pretty much, you don't see, you don't have eyes to see, you don't have ears to hear. Okay? Now, it's not Donald Duck specifically, okay? But it is the Edomites as a whole, as a nation. They're in power. Okay, according to Job 9:24 and Malachi 1:4, showing you who the wicked is. But I'm gonna